Thank you for tuning in to Mr. Cliff's Toy Shop. On today's review, we take a look at the Super 7 Ultimates Thundercats Lynx. Today I'll be reviewing this figure in the following categories: accessories, articulation, design, is it essential to your collection, functionality, and price. Once those scores are totaled, I'll give you my opinion if this figure is a pass or a purchase. So for accessories, it looks a little bit light. But let's take a look at one of the, if not the dopest accessory that comes with him, and this is his Braille board. If you saw Thundercats Season 2 and you're familiar with Lynx, you definitely know this device. Very happy that Super 7 threw that in. Here we get his light shield. I don't recall what this is. Lynx comes with 2 heads. Would have been nice to have a third head, one where the ears were yellow. If you remember in the series, when the Sword of Omens called for the Thundercats, his ears glowed. Lynx comes with 3 pair of hands. Sadly, none are fisted. The ones that come on him are more of open gripping hands. And the hands have that plastic shine to them that Super 7 is known for that I particularly don't care for. So for overall accessories, I'm going to give Lynx an 8 out of 10. So for articulation, the head doesn't look up. What a surprise. Doesn't look down. It does rotate. No pivot. The arm kicks out that much. It does rotate a full 360. Upper bicep cut. Single jointed elbows only bending in this much. Wrists are on the hinge going side to side. Though we may have some vertical hands. We'll find out later. With the torso, he's able to crunch forward that much. Backwards that much. Absolutely no pivot. You do have rotation at the waist. No butterfly joint. The leg only kicks up that much, backwards that much. It does rotate. No upper thigh cut. Next point of rotation is under the knee. Double jointed knees bending in that much. The foot is able to kick down that much, forward that much. And you have that weird pivoting on an angle. And the legs kick out to the side all the way. So for overall articulation, it's just not good. I'm going to give Lynx a 4 out of 10. So for design, some things that I simply just don't care for. The arms seem particularly long. Not sure if that's because the fingers are open, but they're nearly touching the knees. And if you look at the pelvis region, just a large gap in between the legs looks a bit odd. It makes the trunk seem more T-shaped than flowing, if that makes any sense. Aside from that, I really like that the leg wraps are actually sculpted. Coming up to the top of the figure, I like that the buttons are painted. And particularly looking at the head, I'm really happy that they got the speckles in his hairline. The beard looks good. The closed eyelids look good as well as the hair coming out of his ears. Really like how they done that. Also like the transition of flesh tone right here and the age spots. That looks pretty good. Zooming on, or well, not zooming in, but looking at the proportions again, I think Lynx is a bit too short. And looking at the arms, they look ridiculous. The tricep has this flat pattern in the back, which looks very odd and peculiar given how rounded the bicep is. We need an entirely new sculpted piece, and it's not an entirely new arm, just this portion right here. And last but not least, looking at the sleeve, it's painted instead of sculpted. All they needed to add was a little bit of sculpting right here. That would have added a lot more to the arm. So for overall design, I'm going to go ahead and give Lynx a 7 out of 10. So is Lynx essential to your collection? Well, Lynx came in Season 2 of the Thundercats, along with the other Thunderians that survived. So the story with Lynx is that they attempted to get on the main flagship, however missed it, but were rescued by Burbells, got on a spaceship. The spaceship was damaged, and of course crash landed on Third Earth out of all the places. So Lynx is blind. He was not born blind. It happened during an accident on Thunderia. Said Thunderia, but it's actually Thundera. Lynx appeared in dozens of episodes on Season 2 of Thundercats. So as far as toy options, LJN did release a Lynx figure. If you're interested in picking that up, it's still roughly available for a decent price. Also, I forget to mention that with Super 7 in a reaction line, they also have a line of Thundercats. Lynx is one of those figures. So as far as being essential to your collection, I'm going to give Lynx an 8 out of 10. So for functionality, let's go ahead and swap out, well, As you can see, Lynx so clearly passes the stand test. Now let's go ahead and swap out this head. As I was just dying to throw on this head, I think it looks fantastic. Yeah, really like how that head looks there. So, if you've been watching my Super 7 videos, I feel like I'm just repeating the same thing here. So with the legs, there's a looseness. See that? It's not the worst thing ever, but you would think as long as it's taking us to get these figures that wouldn't be an issue. Also hate the way that the hips look. This leg is fine. Some looseness to this arm as well. This one is fine. So, as I've been saying in my other videos, the body is just antiquated. No butterfly joints, barely crunches forward or backwards. Single jointed elbows, only giving you that much range. The legs move forward that much, backwards that much. Not a good system for the rotation, nor the pivoting. They pivot, but it's just on an angle. Reminds me of how Storm Collectibles does at time, and I'm not a fan of that. So let's go ahead and try some of the accessories that he comes with. Really, I think that this is the only one that he will be gripping. I'm assuming that it goes on his wrist. All right, this wouldn't fit in his hand, so yeah, it goes on his wrist. All right, well, yeah, he can hold it tight, snug, and secure. So just to swap out the hands, let's go ahead and do so. The hands have the pegs attached, which is always a win for me. Let's go ahead and put that one in. We do not have any, actually we do have a vertical hand, but really with no weapons. I don't recall what this is. However, he can hold it in his hands. I'm sort of being lazy here. But with a little bit of effort, okay, he can hold that securely. The Braille board, I'm not going to attempt to get him to hold this on a series. This is it's actual an entire Braille station, so this sits on something. Would have been cool if Super 7 offered an option to have that Braille board as a separate accessory. I know I would have purchased that. Looking at the head, as I forgot, it just doesn't lift up, down. It doesn't pivot. It's frustrating. The lack of articulation, the lack of functionality rather, is very frustrating. So for overall functionality, I'm going to go ahead and give Lynxo a 4 out of 10. So for pricing, Lynxo comes in at $55. That's before taxes, that's before shipping. Adding the two, you're looking at a price point of roughly $65. So now, is Lynxo worth the price of admission? So let's take a look at accessories. As far as accessories, he doesn't offer that much. The Braille board was a fantastic add-in. Sliding over to the price of the figure, I don't feel that $55 is too high. Just looking at the reuse of the body, the issues with the body, the lack of functionality, that's where the pricing becomes an issue. So for overall pricing, I'm going to give Lynxo an 8 out of 10. That should give Lynxo an overall cliff score of. So now is Lynxo a pass or a purchase? This is the only line that's offering new Thundercat figures. So you're left with collecting either vintage figures, which I'm not doing, or taking these figures with all of the issues, the delays, the problems that they come with. Being that I'm such a big Thundercats fan, even though these figures are far from perfect, not close to good, it's an absolute purchase. Here is Lynxo by itself. Here he is with the Snow Knight. Here he is with Pumra. Here he is with Stinkor from Masters of the Universe Revelations. And here he is with NECA's Gargoyles Demona. So I want to thank you for tuning in to Mr. Cliff's Toy Shop. I hope to see you during the next review.